Today, I'm interviewing people about this quote: change will not come if we wait for some other person or some other time. We are the change that we seek. What do you think about that?
That you are the one that is capable of making the changes around you. If you don't like your current situation or the current people that you're around, change it.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think that a lot of people wait around for someone else to be the catalyst for change. My pop actually has a famous his favorite quote, which is, if it is to be, it is up to me.
So what do you think about like societal change? Like, do you think individuals can change the world?
Absolutely. If you get a group of people, it doesn't even take a group of people. If you can get one person to believe in something so much that they're willing to fight for it, then they'll have an army.
I kind of want to talk about one of the areas that I think needs to change in the world, and that is the way that humans treat animals. What do you think about the way that we treat animals as a society?
In general?
Yeah.
I think it depends on the person. And I have a couple of dogs, so I look after them pretty well.
So back in my hometown, we actually there's this canine kennel place that just got in trouble for like abusing these animals, and there's videos all over the internet, and it just like made me, I had just got a puppy like 5 months ago, and so he's like my little baby, and so seeing somebody treat somebody like an animal, it just makes me want to cry.
What are you talking about more specifically?
Yeah, I mean, dogs is a good example, cats, also like farm animals, like pigs, chickens, cows. Like, do you think there's a moral difference between them and like a dog or a cat?
Yeah, I think it's not different, but we definitely view them differently because we eat farm animals and we don't necessarily eat like dogs or cats. I think like there's definitely humane ways to view animals, and they are life forms.
There's no substitute for taking your time, for caring about the animals you raise and the planet we're on. Elwood Dog Meat. We're a family farm.
What do you think about animals like pigs and chickens and cows? Do you think they're like the same morally as dogs and cats, or do you think there's like a moral difference?
No, I was in 4-H growing up, and she was too.
I was not in 4-H.
You were in 4-H.
No, I was not. I was in beta. I was in beta, yeah.
Well, what do you think about, like, do they have the same moral value and feelings as like dogs and cats?
I grew up not feeling that way. I will tell you that. I grew up living on the land, and so that is something like I do understand where people are coming from. Don't get me wrong. I've just never been one of those people. Like, I'm going to eat it.
As a whole, like, how well do you think the animals are treated in the meat and dairy industry on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the worst? Like, what would you say?
-4. I know they get treated horribly.
They get treated horribly. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you said 10's the worst, right?
So,
like 14,
so 14
then.
14,
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen those documentaries on it, but I hear it's pretty bad. What are we dealing with here?
So it's really bad. So I'll just kind of give you some standard practices, and you can tell me like what you think. We'll start with pigs, right? So when they're born, they're castrated. The males are castrated without anesthetic. Their tails are cut off. Their teeth are cut out. Why do you think they do that?
I have no idea.
No, protect the
So they
people.
can't reproduce?
Protect the humans that are working with them.
So partially, but it's mostly because they're so confined and they're highly intelligent. Pigs are smarter than dogs. They have the intelligence of like a 3-year-old child. So when they are confined like that, if they don't have their tails and teeth cut out, they'll like eat each other's tails off. They start doing like cannibalism. They just go insane, yeah. And then they're killed in gas chambers. A lot of people don't know about that. So yeah, they're forced into this like CO2 gas, and that's considered humane.
I feel like, honestly, I hate to be that person, but in the Bible it does say that they were put here to be served as that purpose. That is what they were put here for.
You believe that God gave you the earth, that God created the earth for you. Why would you not have to look after it? Why would you not think that when he came back he wouldn't go, what the fuck did you do?
They were put on the land so we could use them for our nutrients. There's so many, granted it's wrong to torture them, but I honestly believe that killing them to provide for your family, I believe that it's a big difference between abusing them and scalding them or doing things like that. If it's properly done, then I don't believe that it's an issue.
I don't want to just talk your ear off about all the horrible shit that happens. I'm more interested in what are your questions?
Okay, so you said you're not a vegetarian.
No, I'm a vegan.
Oh, I thought that was coming. I thought that was a technicality.
I was not even like, okay, so what do we do? Yeah, okay, all right.
So I want to kind of talk about the God put animals here for us. It doesn't say that in the Bible. I always kind of thought that's what it did say, but when I looked at the Bible, it makes the point that God does love all his creatures, including animals, and he gives humans permission to eat animals when there's the flood with Noah's Ark, when it was a time of necessity. In the absence of necessity, which is saying where we don't have to eat animals to survive, do you think it changes that dynamic?
Just eat the shit on the floor. I left shit all over the floor. Fucking corn and wheat this shit. Grab it up, make some bread. What are you doing?
Yeah, but it doesn't have like bacon around it.
I understand that the animals aren't treated well, but I still don't think that I will ever stop eating meat.
And I said the same thing. So like, what's the primary reason for you? You mentioned like sports. Is it like related to athletic training or?
I mean, yeah, it's a pretty good source of protein. I like the way it tastes.
There are so many other things going around in this world right now, like killing humans, killing children. Like, in my opinion, that's what I'm so worried about right now. And so when I think about animals, like, yes, don't get me wrong, it would be such a great place in this world for us to just worry about that.
So let's say you get protein from eating like a chicken or a cow. Where do they get the protein?
I'm not actually too sure what they feed.
Yeah, what do they feed cows?
Yeah, so cows either grass or soy or wheat, but the point is they get it from plants. So all protein originates from plants. So the animals are just kind of like the middleman, really. So there are tons of high protein plant sources and
nuts, like nuts, stuff like that.
Nuts are good too. Yeah.
What are the high protein plants?
So there's tofu, tempeh, lentils are amazing. So a lot of people say like, oh yeah, there are problems in the world, so let's worry about animals later. But one of the things I like to talk about is that animal agriculture is causing a lot of these problems in the world. So we raise and kill 70 to 80 billion land animals per year. As a result of this, we don't have as much land as we could have for humans to live. And when you look at like air pollution from factory farms and toxic waste, 13,000 humans are killed every year just from the air pollution from factory farms. So if you're concerned about humans, it would make sense to oppose animal agriculture because that is also killing humans.
Do people argue against you?
Yeah,
okay,
all the time.
What are their arguments?
People say like, since lions eat meat, I can eat meat.
Okay.
Do you think that's a good argument?
Not particularly.
I don't think the lion's eating 80 billion pigs a year, but
yeah, we're not. Yeah, the lions aren't really messing up the food chain like we are.
The polar bears are brown. What did you do to the polar bears?
Do humans need to eat meat to survive and get protein and fats, or can we get those from plants?
I mean, I do think you can get them from plants, but I don't think you would be as healthy and as strong as you should be because our bodies were designed, like our teeth were meant to rip meat and to grind.
Carnivorous.
Yeah.
We're omnivores.
We're omnivores. Like, we're built to eat both and both.
Herbivores
and so, like,
carnivore. But
don't get me wrong, there's people out there that just eat plants. But I don't think that would allow somebody to be the strongest and the most like nutritious person out there.
So the reason I'm laughing is because there's like a competition. It's like the world's strongest man competition, and the winner was a vegan. He's been vegan for 12 years. So I used to think the same thing, like, oh, you can't be as strong, you can't be as efficient if you're just eating plants. But we actually can. Like, we may be omnivores, but omnivore by default means you can either live on all plants, or you can live on all meat, or you can live on both. But if you look at like our canines, they're a lot smaller than like natural predators like lions. They can chase down an animal and eat them without any tools. Like, do you think that you could chase down an animal and like tear their flesh without any tools?
Can't run from here to the refrigerator.
Let's touch on taste. So then you have to ask yourself, do you think sensory pleasure can justify violence toward an innocent victim?
Well, not when you put it like that.
So what's your opinion on, like, let's say all these animals, you don't ever send them to slaughterhouse. Like, they produce your milk, they give you whatever you need, but what happens whenever they're not dying off?
Like, would we have overpopulation? Yeah, so the reason that we have them in the first place is because they're bred into existence for milk, for eggs, for meat. So if we lower the demand, get rid of the demand for that stuff, then they wouldn't exist, which when you have seen undercover footage of what happens on farms, non-existence is a blessing.
So you believe that there's farms out there, like enough farms that would be able to stop breeding?
I think this happened today. There was a dairy farm in Canada. They have switched entirely to plant milks because the demand has changed so much. So yeah, I think that the future is in our hands, and if we want to live in a world where animals are treated well, we have that power. We just have to make it. We have to fight for it, and we have to make it for ourselves.
I like that.
Yeah.
But I definitely like how strong you are in your opinion. I like that because I'm very like that too. So
yeah, no, I appreciate it. But do you feel like this has like changed some of your perspective on it at all?
I think it made me more. I think it definitely made me think like,
yeah,
okay, maybe she does have a point. Like, let's kind of kick them up on the scale a little bit, because when you started talking about slaughterhouses, I started remembering, like, I've watched videos online of these chickens like put in like a cage about this big, and there's like 18 of them, and like the horses and stuff. So yeah, I agree.
So has your opinion changed at all throughout this conversation?
It definitely has changed. Now, to be somebody that goes away from this and immediately, I would be lying. But to hold back on that and really put these thoughts and these opinions that you have into consideration, I mean, hold back from using meat, from using all these different things that I find temporary pleasure in.
If you could live a life where you intentionally harmed humans, intentionally harmed animals, or neither, what would you choose?
Neither.
I think I'd go with neither as well.
Would being vegan be closer to that goal?
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah, it would be closer to that goal.
But you're still not going to go vegan?
I still won't go vegan. Just giving you an honest answer. Like, I'm not gonna.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but maybe you could look into it more. I'll give you
Yeah,
some
for
resources.
sure.
You could try some more products and just see where the road takes you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. Special thanks to my morally superior patrons, Amy, Andy, Deepak, and Rebecca.